Good morning, guys. Hope so you are fine and enjoying good. Like before, we will keep studying HSC tool and systems. Today, I will let you learn about one of the useful and safe HSC tool named as Loto. Loto. Loto is an abbreviation for lockout and tagout system. As the name indicates, lockout, tagout, it consists of something which needs to be locked and then tag it out for some information which is communicable. In this section, what we will learn about purpose of lockout, tagout, requirements for Loto, types of hazardous energy, procedures for Loto. On the screen you can see some pictures which shows personnel injuries. These pictures depicts that there are some accidents which is because of failure of a system or failure of a supervision and failure of the HSC tool which is Loto. What is a lockout in this system? Lockout prevents release of hazardous energy. How it prevents the release of hazardous energy later on we will discuss in the further section. And in this system we will place a lock on an energy isolating device that is in the on or off close positions. Next we come towards tagout. Tagout identifies problem, identifies the lockout date, identifies the person, and identifies who will use this tag and when the system cannot be locked out and when the system is required to be locked. There is one picture showing the actual implementation of the locked out system. There is, you can see the tag written mentioning as danger, and there is a description which mentions that there is some alarm failure and the person who will fix this system, and this tag is applied by the person who is doing the job on the system. Now we come towards the use and implementation of the lockout tagout system where it is applied. When there is a repairing work, when you are going for a servicing job, when you have to lubricate the equipments, when you have to clean the equipments, when you have to unjam the jammed equipment, when you have to make some adjustment, when you have to do a maintenance job, when there is some guard removal from a system. When you have many equipments which are protected by the guards so that the persons or other things not come in contact with this equipment, especially the covers are provided on the rotary parts of the machines, because if something comes inside it becomes rolled down just like the motor is revolving and the water is moving. What are the causes of the injury when you do not apply the lockout tagout system? Failure to stop the equipment, failure to disconnect from the power source, failure to bleed the energy, accidental restarting of the equipment, failure to clear work areas before restarting. These are some points which are the causes of the accidents. How? For example, you are working on a power source and you have not disconnected the equipment, you get an electrical shock. You are working on a high pressure line, you have to do some maintenance work on the high pressure line, welding, fabrication. So when you switch off the equipment, the pressure in the lines, if you not bleed them, it will cause an explosion if you do some kind of an operation on this kind of a high pressure line. Somebody working on a faraway equipment, and this equipment is connected with an electrical power panel. He sees that the equipment is switched off, but he don't know that there is some other person who is working on electrical equipment which is connected with this source from this panel. He switched on, and the person who is working far away, the equipment starts up. Maybe he is inside the equipment, maybe he is doing some maintenance work on the equipment, he gets an injury. So these are the things which results in the injury. Next we turn towards what type of the energy is this lockout tagout system control. Electrical energy it will control, mechanical energy, chemical energy, thermal energy, hydraulic energy, pneumatic energy. All these types of the energies, if you apply the lockout tagout system, it will result in the safer way of working maintenance jobs when these types of energies are involved. Hydraulic energy in the pistons, in the hydraulic jacks, this type of energy is present. Chemical energy when you are working on some chemical equipment. Thermal energy when you are working on some heat equipment. Mechanical energy when you are working on some rotary parts of the machinery, when you are working on some electrical equipment. Pneumatic when you are dealing with the equipments which are operated with the air. Now we come towards one procedure which is the implementation way of how to implement a Loto. Prepare for shutdown. First of all, you need to do a shutdown. All the equipments which need to be maintained or have to do a service job over on the equipments, they need to be shut down. All the energy sources which are connected with this equipment must be isolated. Then you apply the lock and then tag and then verify the isolation. Once the isolation is done, you need to make it sure that the equipment is isolated or not, whether it is perfectly isolated or the persons who are working are safe to work on it. Controlled stored energy. Sometimes some equipments, even though they are switched off, they have some energy retained in them. You have to make it sure that all the energy which is retained in that equipment must be completely released, must be completely switched off. And then you come for the last step, prepare for startup. When you have done the maintenance job, then you need to again make it sure that the equipments are already properly connected with each other, the sources are already removed, all the areas properly restored. Then you need to prepare for the startup of the equipment. There are some devices which we will apply when you have to operate the lockout tagout system. Plug locks, ball valve, gate valve, hasp, electrical, hydraulic and pneumatic type of the devices are used for the lockout system. In the picture you can see some of the devices with the keys connected with them. Use of the locks, where the locks are used and how can you use the locks. Use only the locks issued to you. Nobody is allowed to use another person lock because the locks are specified with the specified type of the energy associated with them. So there are names mentioned that this person have this electrical lock and he will apply the lock on the electrical panel only, and his name is also mentioned on the lock system. When you go for the startup of the equipment, you need to make it sure that all the guards are put back, all the tools are removed, areas properly restored, all the locks are removed, all the energy equipments are properly disconnected and the energy is restored again. Who can remove the locks and tags? This is the most important thing. Only the employee who placed the lock and or the tag, this person is allowed to apply. A supervisor, after obtaining the permission from the worker, or who placed the tag, he is the person only authorized to remove the tag. If you have an equipment which is already have a tag, you can apply a tag on it. Sometimes there is some things which are involved and which causes the accident. What are these things? Why the workers do not lock out? Because they have a lot of pressure on them. They want to perform their job quickly. Workers are sometimes alone and they feel no need of lockout. Whenever you are working off the equipment and have to do a maintenance job, make it sure before I told you that all the sources must be disconnected. And when you are going to start up, make it sure all the areas restored before. In this picture have something mentioned on this: jar crusher turned off, no locks in the side, a person is inside. Say for example another person comes, he will switch on the equipment, the jar crusher will start, the person is inside the jar crusher and he will be crushed. So when you are doing a job, make it sure, think first for all these things, all these safety measures need to be followed. This is the last picture. This will exactly depicts whatever I have told, that Loto protects you.